to the Bliss of Art. I'm Mary Boehme, and thank you so much for joining me. Today we are painting Mexican Delicious. Oh yes, when you say Mexican, here I am. I just love the pictures that we're painting today because these 5 beauties were just lovely dancers that we met while we were in Cancun several years ago. And I said, I need to get those on a canvas. And so that is what we are doing today. And as usual, well, not as usual, because this is unusual. My canvas doesn't look, I got women going across my chest, 5 of them highlighted. And so what I'm going to do is project directly onto a canvas that I've already primed with gesso, and then I put an acrylic yellow paint mixed in with some white and kind of gave it a golden cast to it. And now we are going to transfer our paints. No tracing. What? Did you say no tracing? I said there's no tracing. You just paint directly onto the canvas. But there are conditions, and one of those conditions is you can't move the projector, because if you move the projector, you're screwed. Did I say that? No. You're messed up for a while until you can get it all back in place, hopefully. So I'm pretty good at kicking the projector, so please remind me, don't kick the projector. I'm going to try my best not to. Yes, yes, yes. All right, so let's get going because I've already mixed up my delicious paints to paint these delicious women. And I am painting them purple. Purple. Oh, why? Are you losing it? Maybe. No. I just like doing things outside the box. That's the kind of painter and artist I am. And I hope that you are like that too, that you're not going to do something everybody else did. It becomes quite boring. So, let's begin. So my purples I've mixed, and as normal, I used mainly primary colors, but this time I did use a little bit of lemon yellow, and I also used a cerulean blue to mix my purple because that is such a beautiful color. So I'm going to start when you're doing painting directly onto a projector, and I need to turn the lights out. 1 second, don't get scared, okay? So what happens is you have to look for the values. Values are extremely important in painting anything. So I'm going to start with my medium color value, my medium value, and it's a kind of a medium color purple, almost an Easter purple I'd call it. And then I'm just going to outline the head. And in this little container I have here, there is some turpentine in there. Of course, it is odorless. And please, if you're going to use regular oils, which is what I'm using, excuse me for reaching, make sure you use odorless oils, odorless turpentine, and fabulous oils. That's what I meant to say. Okay, here we go. Doesn't take too much to confuse this old lady. All right, so I've got a medium color, and unfortunately, there was a little bit of dark purple that came in there, and that's all right, because there are mistakes in painting. And I'm outlining her head with the big old fat brush. Go back in, and I'm not even being careful. I'm just getting the form down. And I'm making circular motions and going down to the neck and then out to the shoulders and trying to do circular motions. They're important in painting. And I need to move this light just a little bit because I can't see what color of paint I'm reaching for, and I do need to see that. All right, that's better for me. Hopefully it is better for you as well. All right, so here we go with our medium colors, outlining the form, going into circular motions, not worrying about getting to the edge with this big old fat brush. I just want to get color in there. I'm not even concerned about going outside. That's why you save extra paint. Background paint, that is, because you want to have touch-up paint for sure. And it does take a long time for these oils to dry, but it takes no time at all for when I put on the canvas acrylics, they dry very quickly. So, what that is said and done. Now the projector I'm using is called an Inspire projector. I don't sell Inspire. I just like it, even though it does have a few problems. I've had some concerns with it, staying connected. And if they could fix those few problems, I would be really, really happy. All right, I'm going to dip my brush in this turpentine that has kind of disappeared. So, that's right, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to reach over and get in front of you. I'm going to continue painting. And here we go. Making circular motions and combining the legs together because we will separate them with shadows, highlights, all those good things. And I'm staying in between the lines just like in a coloring book. Now the leg comes down here. So if you start up here, you do want to follow that pattern. Be consistent with your strokes. If you're going to do a short stroke, do a short choppy stroke very quickly. And if you're going to be long strokes, give your body some balance because you need that in the longer strokes. Okay, so I've got that pretty much outlined. So I'm going to go to this beautiful woman right here since she's so close to me. And I'm going into the hair a little bit, and that's all right because this is going to be the first coat. There's going to be many, many coats, and that's what art is all about. Creating all those different layers and layers and layers, kind of like on my iPad. It has many layers you can create. And painting is the same way. Now, most likely this is going to be a 2-day project because I can get all the forms on today, and then Wednesday are my next class, whenever that is, 1 o'clock, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, unless I'm in the hospital, which I don't plan to go, believe me. 1 p.m. Central. All right, going down to her waist. And I'm going to scoot over and I'm going to try my hardest not to kick anything. Everything is so close in my studio. They're all related. They're brothers and sisters and mothers and fathers and aunts and uncles and grandmas and grandpas and cousins. Now, even though I'm not going to be too concerned about this orange, because the colors for the clothing are going to be orange. I'm going to keep those colors the same. I'm just making their skin just gorgeous. Not that it needs to be any more gorgeous because it certainly is. These lovely, lovely women, Hispanic women. Going down to the legs, making longer strokes with this big fat brush, just trying to get the paint on there. I'll be going back in shortly with the smaller brush, of course, and then I usually do a lot of the detail towards the end, you know, when you're not watching and I'm not quite as nervous. What? I do get a little nervous, a little camera shy, just a little. Now, they're going to be kind of like dolls where you'll just put one clothing on top of the other. So this first layer is going to go on fairly lightly because it is going to have other layers on top. So you don't have to get exact, perfect coloring in here, painting. And the wonderful thing about the projector is you can see the colors. If you're putting a color on and it looks off, it is, believe me. Your mind is telling you, your brain is saying, that is the wrong value, don't use it. How do I know? Oh my gosh, I've done that so many times. Alrighty, here we go on this third pair of legs. I did a Mexican parade where there were a couple that were just gorgeous, beautiful, looked like a bride in her white, and the man with a hat and a red. I colored them red and orange. I said, you know, I'm going for it. Maybe I'm just going out of it. I don't know. You tell me. All right. Once again, taking the shoulders. Here's the shoulder, bringing it in because the shoulder comes in and comes up. And then the color is going outside. I do need just a little bit of turpenoid because that paint is kind of thick and I want to thin it out a little bit. I think it just kind of evaporated because I had it in there earlier and then suddenly it's gone. Oh well, I got more where that came from. So I'm just going to dip my brush in it just a little tiny bit to loosen up some of that paint. And then you can see that it's going on much easier. It looks like her whole body is glimmering with this color. Oh, it's just gorgeous. If you've been watching my shows, you know that I zigzag and stand upside down. Well, no, I don't, but my painting does. And I do a lot of different type of painting because I think art is all about not taking the brush and just going one direction, because the body and the object goes in many different directions, and that's really what you want to capture. I love doing this, and I know you don't know that, do you? Can you even see me? There I am. You can hear me, I know. I can't turn that light on yet because it really takes away from my picture. I can't see values as easily, and so it's harder for me to do that. But you know what? I never shut up, believe me. That's just what teachers do. They talk, talk, talk. Getting those colors spread around, being a little careless, just trying to stay inside the shapes. Look for shapes in your painting. The most important thing, other than getting the color right, is getting the shape right. There's nothing worse in artist's life, for as far as I'm concerned, is when somebody says, well, what is that? And then you have to explain what it is. That is crazy. Find those shapes. Octagons, hexagons, circles, diamonds. Find them in your art all over the place, because that's what the mind will recognize. It recognizes shapes and patterns. Repeat those patterns. They're there for you to be helpful for you. And the best thing about painting by projector is it goes so fast. Your painting is voila, done. Something that would normally take you a week, maybe it would take you an hour, but it might take me a week. This could be done in no time, several days. I can post this in my website in no time. Well, I do have to wait for it to dry, sorry. So that's an untrue statement, take it back. Circular motions again, going down, realizing there's lots of muscles in these legs. These dancers have been dancing for a long time, and they have very, very strong muscles, kind of like my granddaughter who does lacrosse. And last time I saw her, I said, oh my goodness, look at those muscles. Are you working out at the gym? She said, no, Grandma. I'm just doing to lacrosse, and she's very, very toned. I wonder what value she is. Ha ha. Oh, I know I'm crazy. Ha ha ha. I laugh at my own jokes too. Okay. The next thing I want to do is take a smaller brush, which you can barely see, but it is there, trust me, and go through some of the detail work. And this time I can turn the lights on so you can see a little bit better and I can see a little bit better. So let me turn those back on. And then I can see over here that I need to get a little bit closer, right there, and just get that outline in, come in a little bit closer, and try not to, please don't move the projector. I'll kill ya. No, I shouldn't say that. Now, of course, when you're mixing paints, you want to mix a light, medium, and a dark in almost every color that you're creating because you're going to need it, and you might as well get it done when you're sitting down, because I mix my paints when I'm sitting, while I'm sitting, so I do get some breaks in there. And then I'm going to move over to the side a little bit to get this side here. See, I'm going to cover up the projector so you can see the shapes. Don't they look lovely? Oh my gosh, I could just leave the painting like that and be very, very happy with it. But I'm not. I'm a perfectionist. I need to finish it. Bracing my arm against the side of my body, giving my body some leverage and my arm some steadiness. Using the very tip of the brush, because the closer you come in on the brush, the harder you're pressing, and you want just your brush to flow. It is paint, it's supposed to flow. Going down the back of the leg, right around those muscles. Going all different directions with your brush. Don't go just one direction. Artists go all over. They don't just stay in one place while they're painting. They'll see a spot over here. Oh yeah, I missed that. All right, so be consistent as far as painting. Paint every day if you can. I would, but it takes so much time to prepare for you, so I can teach you how to be a painter. And don't believe those lies that Satan wants to tell you that you can't be successful, because I am so sorry, but you can be very successful. Believe me, it just takes time. Not every painting is a masterpiece. Some of them you have to throw away. Yes. Nope. Did I say throw away? No. I take that back. You don't have to throw it away. Paint over it. Recycle. Go back in and go get some more of that lavender color. Whoops. That will be fixed. I went outside the line. A friend of mine who is a teacher, art teacher, was saying one day her daughter came home from school and she was very upset. And she said, well, what's wrong, darling? And she said, my teacher said that I need to stay inside the lines. And the artist, was so mad. She said, what? Did you tell her your mother's an artist? So don't stay inside the lines. Go outside the lines. Go outside the box. Think differently. All right, I'm going to get down just a little bit. Some of these are going to have to be fixed. When I go in, I see I got way too much paint on here. I twirled my brush to get a sharper point, because I'm going to go up here and do a little detail in the head. I usually start off with the medium color, then I go to when I'm doing a whole person, and then I start filling in highlights and details. It's easier to put just a bunch of paint down there and then work around it than it is for me to try to get into little bitty areas and just struggle. So I've solved that problem. I don't do that anymore. I just do one coat. And these oils, they're not like acrylics. These are, what are they called? I can't even think. It's Winton. Winsor Newton. I should have remembered that. But I haven't been painting very much with oils. I've been doing mainly acrylics because they dry fast. But guess what? When this pandemic hit, it was hard to buy supplies, and I started running out of my acrylics, and I said, well, I have tons of oils down the basement, woman, not girl. I'm not little anymore. I wish I were thin. So that's what I did. You know, I got the big old box out, and I said, oh, I love oils anyway. That was my first love. My husband thinks he was, but don't tell him I said that. Very muscular arms. Going in with this beautiful lavender, a lavender lady. Short strokes, long strokes, medium strokes, back strokes. Oh, got you on that one, didn't I? All right, I'm bored with that one. Oh. No, I'm just kidding. I am bored with this one right here. I want to move over a little bit closer to where I don't have to tilt my body in a strange, contorted way, so I don't block your view. What I won't do for you, my friend. Okay, then I'm going to go over to the middle one, and I'm going to work on her just a little bit. She was the first one, so I did more painting. I'm even going to cover up some of her hair, go out there with her ear, make her face more rounded and her neck more rounded. And if you can see really clearly, you can tell that the tone, this is the tone that goes over most of the body. And that's why I started with it. I'm going to push these strokes out under her, around her rib area. That's her hand. And if you've been following me, you know I say, don't sweat the small stuff. If you've gone outside a line, everything's fixable in paints. Or you can just maybe add a different perspective to it. I love these little frilly things they have. I guess they're called tutus. Tutu! Perfect form. You never mess up when you're using a projector on the form. You know it's right. Alright, then I'm going to go down here towards the legs. And actually, I'm just going to start on this one because I got to lean down for that, and I don't feel like doing that right this minute. I'm getting hot underneath these lights. because the spray doesn't help. It just adds more heat to my body. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Oh, the brush. Oh, I forgot. Sorry. All right, let me go into her ears. They're very light, so I'm going to probably lighten those up. Use a lighter value in there. All right, I went outside the box a little bit there. That's all right, it's fixable. I have more paints. Wasn't paying attention, daydreaming. Going up with my strokes, going down with my strokes. Wiggling, 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 ziggling, ziggling. Is that such a word? This is part of her hand here. And then of course I have a liner brush where I do the sit down. I call it the sit down painting, because then I can rest my hand on a surface and give it more steadiness. Please do subscribe to my YouTube channel. Comment on it and also like it. I don't get paid for this. I am doing this out of the generosity of my heart, and because I love painting, and because it's a difficult time for people right now, and I wanted to add some happiness to your life. Hopefully this is going to do that. Give you that little break that you might need. Even though you should be getting outside some, it is gorgeous. I was at the Cliff Cave Park in St. Louis over the weekend, and it is just a beautiful, beautiful park. Lots of photographs, because you know I paint from my photographs. I don't use anybody else's stuff. I've been doing painting for a while, but photography forever. I started that in college. All right, I need to check on the time. All right, we're doing good. And I'm so proud of myself. The last time I painted, I had yellow paint all over my sleeve. And it's like, oh my gosh. The last 2 times I've had yellow paint all over my sleeve. And I'm not a yellow canary. And I like yellow, but not on a black shirt. All right, stop talking. Get to work. I'm going right into the shoes, because that paint is going to be covered up with another coat of a different color. The shoes are much lighter, so I have to go with a much lighter tone. And with a different color, lighter tone, different color. Now I'm going to go into our last woman's head. Getting into her head. Pressing my arm against my side of my body to give it some more leverage. Ooh, way too much paint. Okay, let me thin this out a little bit. Now this painting will be for sale on maryboehme.com, my website. Please do visit it. I would love for you to see some of the art and the photography that I have available on my website. And yes, I am advertising it. More paint, and then I'm thinning it out again over here, because it's just harder to reach this area with thick paint. So I'm thinning it. And I'm also looking, and I'm trying to determine what tones and what values I have in these women, so I can make them sparkle, even though they already do. Now these legs have lots and lots of muscles. I'm wiggling the brush because I love it when the brush wiggles. going up and down, all around, catching those curves, those contours. All right, I got to blow my nose. I'm gonna come over here and take a little sip of my tea that's in a coffee cup. Oh no, I only got one little sip left. Enough to keep me talking. This is a good book that I found. It's called Color Theory, and it is put out by Artist Library Series by Patty Mollica, M-O-L-L-I-C-A. And it talks a lot about the color wheel. And if you've been following me, you know that is my best friend, the color wheel. That's what I did when I created these colors. I had the color wheel in one hand and this palette knife in the other hand and the paintbrushes on my toes. I do have some funny pictures that I create because I like doing Procreate. It's a wonderful drawing program. Going down into the leg, into the foot, not worried about what's happening around the foot yet. I live on a busy street and I can hear an ambulance in the background. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the light off so you can see what I'm doing in case you can't. And set this down for 1 second. Move my coffee cup over. Put it right there. The one thing I do not want to do is to drop my paints. Tragedy. All right. Actually, let me just block the projector for a second and turn the overhead lights on. Very, very carefully. Okay. And then I block the projector and you can see the forms and they've really taken shape, really good shape. You'll see how they've got they're just, going to town with the shape. And so I have to thin out some of this paint that's along the edges because the best time to do that, of course, is when the paint is still wet and you want to thin out your paint, make it much thinner. So I'm going to do that, but I still have some more, oh my gosh, paint on my shirt. No! I still have some time, so I'm going to put a darker color in there, darker value, and around the head and the hair and the knees where, the shadows are, because we have to find those areas. That's the contrast is what makes our painting pop. If it has lots of good contrast, so add that contrast in there. So let me get a little smaller brush, little tiny brush right here. Oh, I dropped it. I drop a paintbrush every single session. Okay. So I'm going to go in here. There's some spots right in here that I'm just going to fill in. And I don't have to even do this if I don't want to. I could probably move forward a little bit faster. But I do want to do this while the paint is just slightly wet. Move some of this paint around. Correct some of those brush strokes. I'm not concerned about this little skirt she has on because most of it is going to be covered up with a beautiful orange. I call it like a bright horizon orange. I'm sure there's a name for it, but I can't think of it. This is one of my favorite times. I just feel so relaxed when I'm doing the detail and I'm sitting down, but I'm not sitting down now, but I am very relaxed in doing this. Taking those some of those strokes that got too much paint on them, moving it around. There's like a little glob there, so I'm going to take it and put it over here on a paper plate to get rid of it. When you turn the lights on, watch out, you can see it all. And most of the time, that's a good thing. And if you look, you can see the triangle shapes, the circular shapes, of course, cylinder shapes. That is what I want you to look for. Her bikini top, her dancing top, has a triangle in it. Her face is oval. So look for those shapes. Very, very important. Okay, let me set this brush down for a second. Turn the lights out now. Don't get scared. Without turning my projector off. I'm going to turn this light out again too. All right. So, in the hair, there are really, really dark. There's a lot of dark in the hair. So I'm going to go with the really dark blue and purple, a darker form of that I created. And I'm going to go up here and put it in, just tapping it in. Tap, tap, tap. You don't want hair to look like it's just, you know, a wig. You want it to look natural. All right, and then I'm going to tap her hair in. She's got like a little bun over here. Tapping it in, and then it comes down here. Okay, where did my picture go? Here it is. I need to see that. Okay, she's got a long ponytail going down, which I couldn't see before, but I can see it now. So the ponytail comes in here, and here goes every different directions. It doesn't grow just one way. And then the ponytail comes in. Yes. And it ends right about here, so let's get that ponytail in. Go back in with my dark, dark, beautiful blue. Add a little bit of thinner that has dried out completely. This little holder is very convenient. I don't have to hold on to anything else. Oh no, guess what? I got some orange on that brush. So I need to wipe it off a little bit. There goes my picture. There goes the napkin. Housekeeping. Oh, I forgot. We don't have it. Okay. Now there's some hair coming in this direction on her head. I'm going to try to get out of your way. Just tapping that hair in. Going down the side of the head. And around. And it's coming in. Of course, her hair does go into the forehead. You need to get the shape of the forehead correctly. Now, if you have been following me, you know that I did something called the planer head, which shows all the contours of the head, all the things that you need to memorize if you are going to be painting heads. Painting faces, doing portraiture. That's what it's called. Okay, I thinned my brush out a little bit more. All right, now there's some really dark here. I've got her in, and I've got real dark in, which is good. There's, and this tall woman who's in the middle, she has like a V-shaped shadow here, and that's great about the projector. You can see the beautiful shapes, and you say, well, I wouldn't have seen that without the projector, because I probably would have missed that shape. There's also a triangle right here. Put that in. And then over on this side, so I gotta move around, grab a little bit bigger brush, prop it, putting it into some turpentine. And it starts right about here. And this is hair, so you wiggle it around, get that hair in there. There's some darker areas in here, but it's not quite as dark. This is the darkest. That's probably the darkest spot. And then since I have paint on the brush, and it's not as strong, is the only word I can think of, because the paint's pretty much gone off of it, then I can add these colors here, because remember, as you move away from the camera, things start to get lighter in color, smaller. And then her hair, she has hair, where did my picture go? It's on the floor, I'm trying to look at it upside down. Her hair just kind of comes down here. So I'm just going to wiggle it under her chin, make a little curls. There's some hair there too, that's all right. Then of course she's got hair back here, and there's hair here, underneath her ear. Okay, so I'm going to add just a little tiny bit of black here, because I want those really dark colors to show up. Here too, I'm going to tap it in. And then here, in this woman's bun, tap, tap, tap. And her just tapping along the side. Tap here. Her hair is all sprawled out. And the last thing I want to do today in working on this painting is to get a different brush, a flat brush, a skinny flat brush, and I didn't get one out, so I can find one and do some of the, I keep rubbing against my curtain over here and getting paint on it. Now, I want to add some of the contours in the chest in there, and I'm going to do that with a medium purple or violet, whatever color you want to call it. And here's some contours coming in there. And oh my gosh, when I put the brush up against this color, it matches exactly, so I know that color is right. I know it's beautiful, that I did that, that color is going to fit in perfectly. Then I'm going to add some along the top to give the hair some variation. Go back in. That's why I did create a light, medium, and a dark in this color. This is like the medium color here. And then she has some little shadows going along her arm. So I can put those in. Blend it in with that lighter violet that I put on all over. And then along the underneath the ribs, there's that same color. I bet you can't wait to see this. Finished. Please tell your friends. Visit my website. Then she's got little strings of her outfit hanging down, but I don't need to get those. What I need to do is get this brush sharpened, so I'm going to put it in a pencil sharpener. No. To sharpen a brush, you either twirl it and get the paint very, very thin, or else you just push it really hard against the palette, and that will give it a little sharpened edge. So I can go in, get more closer, some of these shadows in here. There's a shadow going right down here, and that's the perfect color because I can tell. And then here, right along there. And then that goes in this way. And she has the same kind of shadows. So I'm going to put some of these shadows in her face. And then along her nose, your nose sticks way out. Well, maybe not your nose, but mine does because it's pretty big. So when because your nose is so far away from the rest of your face, there's always the brightest part of the face is right around the nose, right at the bridge of the nose. So I can see this color is working very, very well in there. It's fitting in perfectly. I'm going to put it right in here around her chest, her breast area, breastbone, going in there. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this one. Do I want to do any more down here? Her legs are much darker. I'm going to add just a little stroke there, and then I'm going to add some darker legs. I'm going to put them along the edge because that's going to make the other color pop and make the legs look more cylinder shaped. Then there's a division there. The legs separate. I bet you can do the splits big time. And around the hand, all along this arm, there's this tone, this medium to dark value. Okay, and then along here again, I'm going to push that in towards the rib cage. Tap some of this color in here. Same thing here. She's got this nice, very nice chest. I'm sure the guys will pick that up easily. Nice chest. Okay. Then put some of these colors in here. Go in for more color. Make my brush work for me by giving it a nice sharp edge. Just jabbing it into my paint. So I have a chiseled edge here. I went in just a little bit where her costume goes in, but that's all right. Add some color there, and then I'm going to take my blender brush, and while the colors are wet, blend them together. But remember, you don't want to muddy your colors. Muddying is when you just overwork the painting, and I have been so guilty of that many times. I'm going to add a little bit darker blue in here and over here on this end, and then this separates. I might even add a little bit of black. Whoops, that is way too much. Okay, use my fingers. And then come down. And I need that other brush to blend that in. I don't want to use my hands because my hands are dirty. Blending those, putting it along the outside of the elbow and pushing the color in to blend in with the violet, light violet, adding some darkness down here. I went outside that line a little bit, but I have plenty of paint left over. All right, since I'm working on the chest, I'm going to finish this one here, and then I'm going to stop, because I do want to talk a little bit more about your bank account. No, I want to talk about values and why they're so important, and talk more about the color wheel and how you should be painting every day, no matter what you're painting. Okay, and one more time over here. I bet you just can't wait to see this. Oh my gosh, this color is perfect. It blends in beautiful. Exactly the right color. Bringing those contours in the face, along the forehead. All right, it's peekaboo time. Are you ready? Let me set this down on the ground, and I'm so happy I didn't drop another brush, and I didn't use 30 brushes. 30, not dirty, 30. Okay. Are you ready? The unveiling. Yay! I am. I'm excited. Okay, first I'm going to turn off my projector. Then I'm going to turn this light on. Then I'm turning on my overhead lights. But first I'm going to wipe my hands off on my apron. Okay, let's turn those on. There's only one of me in here. Let me, there we go, use the right language. Okay, and here we go. Now you can see that I just pushed the canvas. Don't do that. And you can see that the contours are starting to develop. You can see some definition. she's got really skinny legs, but remember, they've got costumes on, so that'll be covered in this bright Hispanic orange and yellow. Did I show you the picture? I know I did, but I'm going to show it to you again because I'm going to paint all the outfits the same color. I think that they all need to be uniform because this is going to be a uniform picture. And I want to mention the planer head. This is what I recently painted, and there's a really good website, and I can't think of the man's name. I apologize, I can't think of him, but I'll try to get it on my website. He does it's a drawing class, and he indicates how important it is to get the planes in the head all over the body. The body has planes everywhere, but especially in the head. And this is, like I said, one of my favorite pictures. Let me try to straighten it up. There you go. Get a little bit closer. And see how it makes, when you put those planes in correctly, then it just makes the head look right. And it makes the eyes look right. And you get the right depth. And it's just study, study, study. Whew. All right, enough about planes and helicopters. Oh, I know I'm so funny. Excuse me. I got peed on my curtain over here. All right. So, what we want to talk about in the next few minutes is a reminder. Do not forget, Satan will keep telling you that you can't be successful. Don't believe it. It's a lie. Honestly. God tells us we can be successful. And it's going to take some work. It's not going to be easy. No way, Jose. You've got to do the homework. You have to be painting. You have to be drawing. You have to be searching and looking and photographing. Get a cheap camera. Go out there and photograph things. This is a wonderful time of the year to do that. Also remember to work with a very, very clear picture to start with, because there's nothing worse than trying to guess what that is, like I did on one painting. I said, oh my gosh, this is embarrassing. Here I am on live TV and I don't know what that is. Ah! So don't do that. I learn from my mistakes, because I haven't. I will try. Find patterns, paint more, paint every day, love more, not only include values of light, medium, and dark in your painting, but include values in your family life. Those family values, calling their mom and dad and sister and brother, and telling them how much they mean to you, forgiving them if they've hurt you in some way or offended you. This is not the time to dwell on those things. This is the time to make amends and to say amen, because we know we have this wonderful Almighty God who has created us and has given us all these skills to use, and we are to be using them. So be successful. Work with the color wheels. Know the color wheel well. It is your best friend. Remember green and red. Christmas time, green and red. Why do we always have green and red at Christmas time? They are complementary colors. They go well together. They help each other out. They're like best friends. Keep your values simple. Don't look, when you first start out painting, don't try to do a Michelangelo or a Van Gogh. Just find simple things to paint. Turn your cell phone off. Turn off all your devices when you're painting, because you want to focus solely on your painting, and you will be lost for hours and hours and hours. And it is so comforting, so very, very comforting. And I thank you again for visiting the Bliss of Art. And please support me by subscribing. And as usual, you know what it means to make a tissue dance. What it takes is a little buggy. Grab your paints while I cue up the music. And we are going to dance. All right. Cue it up, cue it up, cue it up. It's already cued. Where are you? Here you go. Don't you just love all those little sounds I make? Precious! Here you go. Don't hit yourself in the head when you're dancing with me. Do enjoy your life. Enjoy your outdoors. Take those breaks. Take care of yourself. Eat healthy. And like Bill Withers says, lean on your brother. Lean on your mother, your dad, your sister, because someday they are going to lean on you. Will somebody turn out the lights? Oh, I forgot. I'm the only one in the studio.